Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, this is our ongoing meditation session. Be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line, and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind, and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, before we start our practice session, as usual, we'll take few minutes to understand how this meditation will help for us to develop our conventional life, and at the same time, out of that conventional development, how we can gain our spiritual success. So even though we keep practice, even though we keep listening, sometimes when it comes to the clarity within ourselves, to be very clear about the practice, especially the very spiritual practice, sometimes there are a lot of unknown parts. We think, oh, I'm keep doing this, I know this. But when we start to do, we recognize we don't know it. So that's why we opening different avenues, windows every day for you to become more clear, brush up, and master yourself the techniques and understand the very core level of wisdom that you need for this practice. Because whatever the ideas, sometimes not going to work once you start to practice. So when it comes to meditation, we mainly focus to the very present moment. So that present moment we catch out of our own body, our out of our own experience happen in the moment. So when it comes to the four foundations, there are four things that we can take as primary mental objects. So first one is the contemplate on the body, bodily postures. Physically, that the body that you recognize as who you are. And the feelings. Second one, third one, the mind. And the fourth one, the phenomena. So these four categories, all you can see in the moment when you experience. So when it comes to our moment of experience, one of the things we can recognize the sensation. So seeing the sensation naturally as it is a skill. And sometimes, as you know, we don't see this change or the sensation, but by the time what happens, when it appears to us, we don't want to accept it. But it slowly, every day, all the time keep happening. So you have to understand the very nature of the body and mind, this both energy. There is nothing solid, permanent, concrete, physical, material, anything exist. Even though it is changeable, even though it is energy, what happens most of time in our mind, we transform it to pictures, and once it become a picture, it look like permanent. So as example, the most of time when the pain happens, so the very pain is a language of the energy. So the pain itself means kind of like accumulation of the energy. And as you know, the physical pain sometimes in your muscles, like cramping, you're like, once the lactic acid there, you feel uncomfortable. But that pain, how you going to describe? So the pain itself is the energy, but what happens, sometimes you start to bring pictures to that pain. You can't recognize that pain directly. You start to go through something. So as example, like when you have a pain, it's kind of like you explain it. Oh, it's kind of like so hard. It's kind of like hitting something. It's kind of like stabbing. It's kind of like holding, tightening. So like that, you bring a kind of like a physical example. But the pain itself, it's not like that. But once the mind grab that physical picture, what happens? So like as example that you have a pain, it's kind of like it's like a hitting somebody. And then what happened? You are not going to see the pain. When the pain is there, your mind start to create many kind of pictures around it. So then itself you go into misunderstanding. So one thing that you have to remember, once you build up that kind of picture, your mind start to transform that energy to something. And then what happens? The energy start to get stuck there. And that's why sometimes, when you have stress, that you feel your body start to get tight. And you have the pain, and it's kind of like you can feel kind of like a knots. But itself, it's a kind of like energy accumulated, but there is no physical knots there. When your mind close, resist, struggle, and then the energy start to transform to that level. But if you are capable to open, if you practice being soft, relax, if you practice to be open, and if you practice to allow it to happen, if you practice to experience the pain without having a mental image about it, so then what will happen? That softness start to release that energy. That experience start to release the energy rather than accumulating. So sometimes for some people have knots, you feel kind of like a very tight knot inside this skin. And once you become relaxed, what happened, you no need to do anything. So your body, the energy itself start to release it. So try to understand this language. And at the same time, when the pain happens, once you start to experience it, it's kind of like there is a word called investigate. So when you investigate the pain or the sensation or the feelings, you are not become very limited to the moment of the information that you get. That is the beauty of investigating. And at the same time, you are not bound or you are not biased to the information that you have in the moment. So that is why you have the openness. When you have the idea of investigating, your mind itself have the ability to let it be as it is, not to interfere, not to change the process. So that's the very nature of investigating. So that's why in the vipassana level, when you develop the mind, you start to develop that mental attitude, this investigating attitude. And once you start to see that what happened, rather than transforming the pain to a physical image, you start to see the very nature of the pain or the sensation. So in that way, you recognize this everything change moment by moment. So the pain is something that very beautiful, that if you can practice it, take time sometimes, because the fear, the pain can indicate the fear and it closes you down most of time. But if you allow, if you have the power, ability, strength to be open to the pain, and you can see how the change happening. So the change that we know, everything change, but the direct experience about the change is something else. The natural change is something else. So the change happens, but when the change happens, sometimes we don't want to accept it. And when the change happens, we see some other reasons on the top of that change. We don't see the change. So as example, just imagine you have a friend. And then maybe that friend suddenly become rich. And then the person change. So now you don't see the change. You don't value the change. What you say, oh, now you have a lot of money. Now you change. So it's not money. The fundamental nature of all change. And Other thing is by the time, and maybe aging after many, many years, and you see something change. And then, oh, we are old. Now we are changed. You are old. You just focus to the age, not the change. So like that, always you have to remember, seeing the change is a different way of a skill. So in the Buddha's teaching, fundamentally, out of this, all the practice, the skill you have to develop is change. That is what you have to understand. We know everything change, it happened all the time, but still sometimes we don't recognize it. If you look very carefully yourself, have you ever understood this change? Then what you know about the change? And what is the difference then, that you know something about the change, but still something missing? Why is that? Why still sometimes it is very difficult for you to accept when something changes? Why you keep struggling, fighting? Why you try to keep repeating the same again and again? Why you want to bring back it the same? Why you don't want to accept it, this change? Because if everything change, what is missing? Why you struggle? Because you never develop the direct experience, natural change. And other thing is, when the change happens, you think it happened because of something. But the change is the very meaning of this all. So that is one thing. There is another secret also, that why you can't accept this change, why you can't understand this. That is something more deep. There is a deeper relationship yourself to the change. Sometimes when the change happens, you see, oh, it because of that, this because of this, but you don't recognize there is a very deeper relationship that you build up yourself towards the change. That's why it changed. Because you change, you are itself is the change. So, but still when situations happen, look at our life, what we understood. When you're going to understand this? There was a very great teacher, Zen master called Suzuki Roshi. And one student came after many, many years. That student was kind of like a good student for him, many years, and told teacher, honestly, still I can't understand what is this teaching. What is really that we should understand? So then what the Suzuki Roshi told? The Buddha's teaching, if you bring it to one word, that is change. So try to understand the change. Maybe you will understand many other things. Maybe you are capable to do many high mental powers and miracles, kind of like that things. And maybe you are capable to do lot of generous activities. And you are so nice person. But still, if you don't understand the very meaning of change, that anything doesn't work for you. That all good for only this conventional life. But for your spiritual life, you need this recognition of change, all this meditation practice. So especially in the Vipassana, not even in the tranquility meditation, you can see this. In the Vipassana meditation, it directly takes you to experience the change. And subject and object both, perception and the perceiver, the both, experience and experiencer, the both change. But sometimes we see only the perception, only the object, only the experience. Sometimes we don't see the experiencer. So that's mean what? Maybe you see something change, but you don't see the relationship to the change, your own relationship. And that also not going to work if you don't see that. Then that's become kind of like some kind of knowledge. That is what we most of time we have around us. So then when it comes to your own relationship to the change, you have to remember that everything that you count as you change, nothing permanent. From that point of view, if you are capable to see something, and it's going to be totally different. So the power of investigation, the ability of investigation, art of investigating, bringing this quality to yourself. So you are experiencing another thing is this, the change most of time we experience, it's a kind of like an ideal change. And another way it is when it become ideal, and it's kind of like a come through idea and imagination, it is not real. So what you understand by aging and what you understand by informations, what you understand by reading about the change is not the real change. It is artificial change. So as you know, this artificial intelligence, so that is a kind of like a wisdom. But there is a natural wisdom. So like that, there is a natural change. Try to get that one. So the natural change is in this very moment within your own experience, that how you change with the moment of experience and the experience are both. In the moment, not what happened yesterday, not because of, oh, that happened this way, and not you see the change through another person. No, you in the moment, how you experience it, how it come through you. Get that wisdom. That is the finally the very bottom line of this all. So get it. And once you get it, and whatever in life, you can interfere with that all. But still, then what will happen deeper in you? You're not going to hold it to, tight it to, clinging to anything from the outside, and mostly within your inner experience. But now what happens? We are capable, for most of time, we are more educated than our history, than our ancestors, and we have some kind of wisdom. regarding this everything around us. And that's why we are more smart to replace things better than our history. And we are more capable to develop a kind of like a sustainable energy to maintain things for a long time. And we are capable to handle the change with these outside things. But still, sometimes we have very zero knowledge regarding inside our own this natural experience. So when it comes to that deeply, form, feeling, perception, volition, recognition, that is what create you. This all 5 aggregates. That is the human life. That all change. But what we experience, what we talk about, where we look, so where are we heading? And that's why when the pain is there, how you recognize that pain? And maybe you have a headache, and sometimes to explain that headache, and why you say somebody, it's kind of like somebody hitting my head. Because once you come to that understanding, you will never see the change, the pain. If you can't see the pain, you never see the change. So that is what happened most of the time in our life. Even though this everything changed day by day, day by day, day by day, we try to put a label on it. And or maybe we try to understand it through the picture or through some kind of another reason. And that's why sometimes it's the people have different ideas about the world, and people think the money is bad, success is bad, becoming rich is bad, technology is bad, new invention is bad. Why? Because once you have that, you experience change. That everybody around you going to change. And then you think, oh, that make people change. No, the change is the very inherent behavior of us, not the world, not the other things that we see. We put the label. No, you are itself the change. So the world itself the change, life itself the change. So then try to understand it, be with it, accept it, experience it, be open to that. And in that way, allowing it to happen, allow the change to happen, challenge for the change. If something is every day the same, don't trust it. That's the only thing. If the person is every day same, don't trust that person, because there's something going on. If the person every day is so nice to you, don't trust that person. There's something else going on. If you don't experience the change within yourself, don't trust you, because maybe you are dead. You are kind of like who knows? Sometimes we dead, we don't understand. We are kind of like in a, ghost life. So if you experience the change, that is the meaning your consciousness is work. So bring the ability. That is it. If you see that, if you can grab it, if you can digest that, if you can handle that, the change to the most highest level, to the depth, through this everything, if you are capable to handle the change, you are enlightened. When it happens inside you or outside, if you are capable to 100% be open to that, no one can stop you. You will transform to enlightenment. What is our habitual pattern? Our sanskara, mental formation, cankers, what it does? It don't allow us to see the change. It allow us to do the repetition again and again and again. We try, when everything change, our imagination push us to repeat the same. That is another way that we develop this samsara. But if you are capable to tune to this moment by moment, moment by moment of the change, without any intention or without any desire to repeat or kind of like a holding or grasping, at least it kind of like, at least it should be like this, like that. If you are 100% can accept the change, and you are itself become the part of it, and you are directly experience the change, not you see it through something, then you tune to the natural change. That is the ultimate experience that you can gain. That is the ultimate power that you can have. And that is what in the bottom level always happening in this nature, within ourselves. We can't see it. That is what itself called the illusion. So then try to understand it first, and then through practice and develop it and gain that wisdom. That's why out of this whole practice, we make it more simple, not to complicate, more simple. Now you have to understand that. When it comes to this whole practice, even observing the breathing, what you have to see? The change. See anything. So then, in this outside world, in any meditation, if you are capable to get into that bottom line, to see the change, direct change, the natural change, and the relationship to the change yourself, then you will see. Your mind itself untangled from everything. So then there is no pain, no knots, no tightness. So then that is where your liberation, your freedom comes. Most of the time we say, oh, no pain, no gain. But in the Vipassana level, if you see the change, no pain. So with that, get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself and say, Sopateva, oh, may I be well and happy, 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation. And bring your attention to the change. Even though you focus to the sensation of the breathing, through that sensation, see the change. Not only the breathing, but also the experiencer. So don't move your body and slowly put your attention to the breathing. Do nothing extra. Bring your attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart. Forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. To your backside. To your left side. And to your right side. Downward. And upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light to spread the energy. without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Also, by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata chami sampadam punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Imaya dhamma anudhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi. Addhaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadi maranam ha paribunjissami. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.